All right, so this is going to be like part 3 in these 3 series of recordings. So this is Listen Next 761. It is a part of my podcast, Speaking to the CIA. You can find me at Christina Stacia. That's STATIA918.com. You can find me, my podcast, Speaking to the CIA, on Podbean. You can find me on Spotify, Scorpio71. You can find me on YouTube, Christina Stacia 918. Okay, so I'm going to continue on here. Okay, so a lot of people brought up a bunch of stuff. Like after I got done playing my recording, I was playing it outside, and people were like, this. They were putting together whole bunches of stuff. I couldn't remember all of it to write down, and some of it is I've already decoded. It's already a known, like it's already in my podcast. It would just be more of the same. That's when I use the word adjective. It's just, I mean, Jean Roberts is already hardcore proven to be guilty, and you can tell that by her balking back, either by hacking me or by pretending to be people that she's not and hiding under them. Her same usual stint as usual. So anyway, okay, so one thing that is relevant in this is that somebody said that I want to get in there that people wouldn't figure out unless they're listening to my podcast already. This also links to, okay, so the Iran-Contra bust happened in 1986, right? Oh, and then also someone else said, this is relevant also, Gene Roberts robbing the cartel's safe. And somebody's talking through my brain saying that, which I know that Gene Roberts robbed the cartel because I can see her in my brain. I see her cracking the safe. I don't see her face cracking the safe. I see hands cracking a big safe. And the next thing you know, I see Gene Roberts and another woman just freaking straps a cat. So much cash I've never seen in my life. So you're going to have to go through all of my podcasts to get all the details on that. So this is also the year, which I'm going to get to in a little bit here. Also the year you're going to see all decode around it. I decoded this already, but you're going to see all podcasts linked and see all my decoded ciphers, my books, everything. So when Gene used AI to try to pull a stunt on Geraldo Rivera on, I think it was, somebody's trying to control my speech to say that I'm saying that Geraldo Rivera was on Fox News. I don't remember what network Geraldo Rivera was on in 1986. He was a whatchamacallit. He was a talk show. He had a talk show. He was the talk show host. The popular talk shows that were on, the two that I remember were the Geraldo show, and see, oh my God, please stop talking through my voice. The Geraldo show, and then also Morton Downey Jr. Okay, so even she freaking did that, Morton Downey Jr. She freaking even did that in her pre-planning to do the World Trade Center attack. And then, she places orders on people. She did this in Louisiana. She's done this here. Not as extreme as she tried to get away with it in Louisiana, but she does do this here. She wants everything soft and squishy, smushy, and but it's like she uses, and I grew up on Easton Cottonwood. She's got a whole cotton theme, okay? She controlled my life. She wanted me to live on Easton Cottonwood in grade school. She could control my path, but Gina's really cutesy fartsy and really soft and really like, she wants to make you all pliable and malleable and want you all emotional, and then she goes and then she like sticks her con knife in you. So I'm like, if anything cutesy farty syrupy slop ass shit, that is all Gene Roberts. And as far as her abusing or using regular everyday life that everybody loves, I mean, I'm 55 now. There's not anything in my life that she has literally not destroyed. You keep life as it is. You happen to know a serial killer freaking occult. I mean, this is crazy, but this is real. Gene Roberts, the leader, Charles Manson, is like destroying things using things that everybody knows and loves, which she does on purpose. She wants everybody's hearts broken. She wants everybody disoriented. She wants everybody like broken cut glass. Okay. She wants everything destroyed, and destroying everything that everybody loves is a part of that. And then she goes and blames it and on everybody that she blames, and they did not do this. Gene Roberts did it. So anyway, it's all, so you just keep life as it is. You love what you love, and then if you have the capacity to do so, you turn in Gene Roberts and romance in a cult. So anyway, so okay, so another thing she does is what she did big time in Louisiana. What she doesn't do a lot here, what she does sometimes, is she drops like fabric softener. It's some kind of chemical that she drops in the air, in the atmosphere. Excuse me, she's controlling my light. So anyway, to make the air feel like extra soft or cottony or silky. It's like literal like powdered freaking fabric softener. And I'm like, well, this is just great. Let's just let the bitch who did the World Trade Center attack drop some kind of chemical compound in the freaking atmosphere, and let's just let her continue committing terrorism. That just sounds like a real good damn idea. So anyway, she got away with doing that more in Louisiana because they didn't know that she was the one doing. They didn't know everything yet. She gets away with it less here when she's really trying to show out here. I mean, they've got her number now. Like, everybody knows what's going on now. But she's still trying to run her little freaking con. So whenever she's introducing a new group of people that she's lied to or trying to hustle or trying to scheme money out of or whatever, and whenever she's up to no damn good, that's when she pulls stunts like that, because she's trying to razzle dazzle, show off with her criminal ass, thinking everybody's like, oh my God. And nowadays, it's crazy because people are like, she wants to call everyone her she thinks everyone's her huckleberry, and she's the master of all masters and everything else, right? So she thinks she's like running a number on everyone. So it's funny present day, because now there are people that get into her. She brings in like new groups of people, and then she spreads her lies around. So there are people that get in that, and it's really funny. And I know it's intelligence and military, and I know it's everybody else, because they want to know like everything that's going on. If they're not finding out what's going on, they want to find out what's going on. They want to know what Gene the criminal is doing. They want to know my podcast, and then they go about their business to handle business the way they want to, depending on who they are. So there are people that like get in her stuff with her people that she's trying to scheme, and they're like, I'll be your huckleberry. So they just smile in her face and, oh yeah, oh yeah. Like Scott Besant. Like him going, I'll be your huckleberry. Like, and then them running their razzle dazzle, pulling their stunts, acting like, oh my God, it's so freaking insane. So anyway, and then he comes on, he's like, okay, now I got your podcast, I got everything. She's like, you can't find out, everything's under her orders. So like, you have to like sneak past her. It's freaking ridiculous. But I mean, here's the real world. Everybody has my podcast. But she thinks that everybody's abiding by her game and only doing what she says. And because all of a sudden the entire United States population and 8 billion people in the world all just decided that, Gene Jernigan Roberts of Milton, Florida can now be the alpha and the omega of the planet. She really thinks that people just go along with their crap. So she really does think that, and people don't. So it's kind of funny now, like, they play her. So not everybody, she still suckers people, but there's a lot of people that play her. So okay, so anyway, Eric Holder, okay, so he's a guy in the government. So I decoded not too long. I was shocked the ever-living crap out of me. I was like, no freaking way. I decoded this last year. I was decoding some of the Beastie Boys music from License to Ill, and I was decoding, and it was in Paul Revere is what it was in. I think it was in Paul Revere. And I'm decoding it, and there's the future freaking Eric Holder's name. And it's talking all about him being associated with arms, and guns, weapons, everything. And then Eric Holder is the guy that they have in charge now, or he has something to do with that. With, I don't even know, but he's related to it. But that they created his name like that long ago, and now he is in the government. And then this is also the year of the Contra bust. But I found it in the Beastie Boys music, License to Ill. So anyway, somebody wanted to mention that Eric Holder also goes that, which also would be his name to his first name. She did that too. So okay, so back to Al Capone's vault. So she pulled a stunt on Geraldo Rivera. You just see all my decoded ciphers on Al Capone's vault. See all my decoded ciphers. See on everything on her robbing the cartel safe, and then just see everything. Okay, so all of this all connects here. So the Los Lobos. Okay, so in part 1, I'm talking about oh my goodness sake, the Halley's Comet and all of that. Okay, so and Richie Valens and all that. Okay, and she crashed Richie Valens' plane. Okay, so Los Lobos, Richie Valens, and then that connects to Al Capone's vault, which is the year 1986. But she actually robs the cartel, then runs around telling everybody that she robbed the mob. When you have to see all my previous podcasts and all of this. Okay, and then Geraldo Rivera opens the vault, and then this was like a whole week-long saga. Everybody watched it on TV every night. He was like, okay, we're getting further in, and then he opens the safe, and there's no money in it. Okay, so you're going to see all code on everything, so all this is linked. So anyway, this also connects to, I went to go see the winners of, she runs her baseball sex trafficking Ponzi is a part of, it's her major funder of her con that she's running, which is funding all of her big terrorism underneath that she's trying to disguise and continue funding, continue doing. So, and I told you she's been running that since before I was alive. Okay. So, see on my podcast on that. So anyway, I'm like, I wonder what she did. I wonder who won the World Series that year. So I go back and I look at 1986. Who won the World Series? The New York Mets won the World Series. And this was on October 27th, 1986. So then you have the 10-6 Alice in Wonderland, and then you have the 927. The New York Mets won their second title by defeating the Boston Red Sox 8-5 at Shea Stadium for 4 games to win to 3 series win White Sox. So then you have the 8-5 to 13. So you can tell she controlled the winners of that game. And you see how all of this all links in. So then this continues on. So the mystery of, okay, so this continues on to, oh my gosh, she's blanking my brain. It's a family member of mine. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember his last name. Okay, so my great uncle Edwin was an inventor, and I can't remember his last name right now. This is crazy because she's blanking my brain. So he was an inventor, and I told you the different things that he invented. He invented the rotisserie part, the turning part of a grill. He invented collar stays. You know the little plastic things you put in your collar and the business collars, and it keeps your collars straight from being wrinkled. He invented collar stays, and he helped write maps. He was from New York, and he helped write maps for the United States, mapping the road system. Like, he helped write the original atlases. So I can't, oh, Edwin Vance. That's why she's blanking your brain, because she's trying to hide it. So his last name was Vance, Vance. Okay, that's my great uncle's name. And then, so Gene Roberts is using all of that to do all kinds of lies and all kinds of crimes with. I mean, then the Vance and then the Vans and then all of that. Okay, so anyway, so when I lived in Chicago in 1986, I was already in love with this, and I was so shocked. So, and I've already told you this in a podcast. So when I lived in Chicago in 1986, A Chorus Line, the movie, was playing on cable TV, and I was in love with The Chorus Line. I freaking loved it. And then my dad goes, you know, your great aunt starred. She was in A Chorus Line on Broadway in New York. And I'm like, no, she wasn't. And he's like, yeah. And he said she was the main, I think he said she was the main character that the movie is about, I think is what he said. He goes, he said it was my great aunt or my great great aunt. And I was like, oh my God. So then I became like really in love with A Chorus Line. Like, that's my favorite musical ever. Like, I freaking love A Chorus Line. So I'm like, oh my God, my great aunt was on Broadway. Oh my God. I was freaking out. So anyway, I'm like, so present day, I'm like, well, okay, let me go see what she did in controlling awards that year. So not just sports, but controlling awards. So then I go and I look up who won the Tonys that year in 1986. And it was, get this, The Mystery of Edwin Drood won Best Musical, and I'm Not Rappaport won Best Play at the 40th Tony Awards in 1986. Key acting winners included Judd Hirsch, Lily Tomlin, and then my stepmom's name was Beth Timlin. Okay, and Lily Tomlin, I freaking loved her. Oh my God, I freaking loved her. Her and Jane Fonda, and I got to meet Jane Fonda in Mental Telepathy. I love Jane Fonda. I've got to talk to her quite a few times, not at length, but quite a few times. At first, she wasn't able to because Gene Roberts tried to force her into silence. She forced news and politicians and celebrities. She tried to force a lot of people into silence because she wanted to freaking run a hustle on them. So anyway, I love Jane Fonda. Like, I love her too. But I mean, she makes me cry. I just love her. So anyway, and she came on and explained to me in my brain, she was like, well, who was that I was talking to? This one I was in Slidell. It was in Mental Telepathy. It wasn't her, because all I wanted to do was talk to Jane Fonda. I was decoding and I was freaking out, and all I wanted to do was talk to Jane Fonda. And I got to talk to people at the top of the Turner Network. And then eventually I got to meet Ted Turner in Mental Telepathy. And you know, Jane Fonda is married to, I don't know if she's still married to him, but she's married to Ted Turner. And he has a whole bunch of networks, and one of them is CNN. So I was like ballistic. All I wanted to do was talk to Hillary Clinton and Jane Fonda. Like, I was ballistic crying. Like, the stuff I was decoding, I was bawling. And it was like, it was been, I was decoding it on paper, but I mean, the mental telepathy people were on and they were like beside themselves emotional. And then they came on. It must have been like their people. And they came on and they're like, they can't talk. They're not allowed to talk. She's got them forced into silence clauses. Like she gave them like fraudulent contracts and forced them into like signing in blood silence that they're not allowed to talk. And so they're like back in like crying and screaming and angry and pissed and can't do anything because they're forced into all this freaking hustle contract crap, which Gene Sins is trying to roll out everywhere on everyone, which is no longer working. Thank God. Well, it's probably one of the main reasons that they push you so hard into getting your podcast set, because people are outraged at Jean Roberts and her Manson Nicole and what she's trying to get away with. This is insane what this woman has tried to get away with. So anyway, but I love Jane Fonda. I love Lily Tomlin. So Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin starred in 9 to 5, which is a movie I loved when I was little. And them little freaking bluebirds that were in the movie. Remember Lily Tomlin gets all pissed and she goes to poison her boss. And she uses like poisonous like sugar, and then it's being reflected as these little bluebirds. And I'm like, I know this is significant. And then later I find out there's actually an MK Bluebird project. So there's MK Ultra, there's MK Bluebird, there's a whole bunch of MK Ultra. Like, don't even try to MK Ultra. Don't you freaking MK Ultra blah. Who ever thought I'd know anything about MK Ultra? I'll never forget being married to my ex-husband, Ben. And he looked at me. I said something to him one time. And he looked at me with a dead serious expression. He looked at me, and my ex-husband, Ben, is like into all this stuff. And I'm like, this is crazy. Let me just read the news. So and then now look, here I am today. So anyway, he looks at me dead in my eyes and he goes, and I'm like, are you freaking crazy? But it's so funny because he looks at me dead in my eyes. He goes, are you sure you haven't been MK Ultra? And I was like, what the freaking hell are you even talking about? What the frick is MK Ultra? Now, since then, I've decoded the heck out of MK Ultra and like an expert in dealing with people who try to use MK Ultra tactics would be Gene Roberts or Manson. Like, don't even bring me your MK Ultra crap, Gene. I don't think so. So it's so funny how it's like all turned around, because I was like, and now I'm like, this is real ass shit, MK Ultra. This is freaking real. I decode this. Like, if I can't decode it, I'm not like with it. Like, don't tell me some crazy anything unless I can decode it. Because there's people that have like told me stuff throughout my life, and then I'm able to go back and decode it. And then I decode, like, you know, I'm decoding my whole life, but like, they don't tell me and then I go decode it. I decode it, and then in the middle of mental telepathy conversations, people tell me something, or I remember something that somebody told me in the past. Like him telling me, are you sure you haven't been MK Ultra? And I'm going, oh God, there's something to see here. Let me go research MK Ultra. Well, dear Lord, I could write a little freaking pamphlet on it. And it'd be coming from Gene Roberts and her Manson Nicole, not the United States government. So I'm giving you guys a hard time, but like, though someone else is using pamphlet trying to be funny, just continue with your decode, Miss Christina Stacia. So, okay, so anyway, so Lily Tomlin is in this, and then Bernadette Peters. And then remember, I look at even that, Bernadette Peters, and then BP, and then she did the BP oil spill, and then George Rose. And then also, remember there was a famous baseball player back then, and his name was Pete Rose. And then Drew Lid with 5 wins, including best book and score for, guess who? Rupert Holmes. So you're going to go back to the podcast before these 3 and see I'll decode on Rupert Holmes, Pina Colada, Fox News, Okay, so more of this. So decoding out this even more. So you can see her pre-planning to do the Benghazi attack because UT is in this. And she's making references to Benghazi, then Bengal tiger. Okay, so I was stationed there. My dad was stationed at Great Lakes Naval Base, and then I went to go live with him. And I was in high school, and I went to North Chicago Community High School. So Great Lakes Naval Base, the initials of it are Great GLNB. Gene Roberts is using that as Bengal tiger. Okay, so that goes all the way back again to me in the 1970s when I was a little kid, and I lived on East End Cottonwood, and at the bottom of my street, the high school that I was afraid of, which is hilarious. That's what she planned. I know she planned for that. And she was like, I'm gonna ice rape Christina, and I'm gonna route her. And it was all pre-planned, probably even before I was born. I'm gonna ice rape her to go to North Chicago Community High School, and she's gonna be freaking scared to death because she grew up in the valley in Arizona. And what happened when I got to North Chicago? I was like, oh my God, my personal heaven on earth has arrived. I couldn't believe it. Everything about everything was just like, oh my God. The people, the music, the way people talk, everything about it. I was in freaking love. When my dad went to send me back to Arizona and told me I had to go back to Arizona, I threw a fit. I was literally fingernails gripping the door, I'm not going anywhere. Oh my God. He told me one time, he got mad at me, and he told me he was going to pull me out of North Chicago Community High School, and he was going to put me in Libertyville. And I threw a freaking fit. I'm like, I'm not going to no freaking Libertyville. I'm not going to. All I can think of is I'm going to go to, and I think that's where Breakfast Club was filmed, based on Libertyville. Because I remember Breakfast Club came out, and I remember it being based around Libertyville. And I'm like, I'm not going to Libertyville. I'm not doing, that's basically going back to school in Arizona. I love the Breakfast Club. I love that movie, but no, North Chicago. I was in love with North Chicago. And I still love it. It changed and formed my whole life. My kid, everything, and everything I could take back with me from North Chicago back to Arizona when I went back to Arizona and was going to Red Mountain. I tried to bring North Chicago to Red Mountain. It was just insane. I couldn't believe this. It was the magical freaking universe that I was just oh my God, everything about, I just loved it. So anyway, when I was little in grade school, when in the 70s in Globe, at the bottom of my street, which is still there, Globe High School, that was their mascot, was the Tigers. She's also making a future reference, or pre-planning to route you into New Orleans. And then she's making a reference to LSU Tigers. So it's going from tiger to tiger to tiger. She's using Tiwa's reference, as you know, and which as stop talking like you're me. No, stop talking like you're me. No. So anyway, to go to New Orleans, routing you to New Orleans, and then she routes your dad to retire in New Orleans because she was setting him in for the kill. She stalked the heck out of my mom and dad's side their entire life. I don't know how early she started stalking my dad and mom's side, but I know it was before I was born. I can see in my brain, in mental telepathy, her putting in my Aunt Vicky in my brain. I can see my Aunt Vicky as a teenager in my brain. And one of Gene Roberts' people, is staring through the eyes of someone in my family who is talking to my Aunt Vicky. And I can see my Aunt Vicky. I can see her. She has been using, and she does this to everybody. She does this to hip-hop, celebrities, politicians. She's stalking the ever crap out of my family. And that would freak my family out. But Don't be freaked out. She ices everyone. She ices everyone. She's putting it out in my brain to freak me out. No, I'll turn you out. I'll keep turning you in, Gene Roberts. So she's stalking my family before I'm even born because she's preparing for me to be born because she's stalking the shit out of me. She wants to sacrifice me, her and her damn demon occult. So no, not gonna work for you, Gene Roberts. So anyway, the school, East Globe High School, it wasn't East Globe High School, it was just Globe High School. Globe High School I was afraid of in grade school. Like my mom would tell me how to walk home, and the way she told me to walk home was to go directly, and this is when we lived on Eastern Cottonwood, she told me to walk directly north and then to walk directly west, and I'm just using as if the school looking forward was north. I don't know the true north, south, east, west. So anyway, and then walk directly west and then you reach home. Okay. So she told me to walk that way, but I would get bored walking that way. And then I would like, no, I'm going to walk this other way. So then I would walk west and then until I got to my street, and then I would walk north and walk up the hill. Like my street, my house is at the top of Eastern Cottonwood. So when I find my street, I'm seeing that there's a big old high school there at the bottom of the street, and there's high school kids out there, and they scared the ever living shit out of me. So it was funny, like whenever I chose to walk that way home, I would like avoid like the high school because they were like, the high school scared the shit out of me. It was the 70s, and like, Gene Roberts, stop controlling Christina's speech. It was her and her freaking accurate, I can't wait till this is over. Gene Roberts and her man's knuckle arrested. But anyway, so she's trying to link all that together. Tiger to tiger to tiger, and then lions and tigers and bears, oh my, and then the Chicago Bears, and la 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 la. She stalked me my entire freaking life. And my parents and their sides of the family. And my husband's and their sides of the family. So anyway, so Bengal, she's using Bengal, and then Ben is my ex-husband's name. So then she was doing that. Then she did that frickin' stint with, she was messing, and that's when I was using. Ben and I had split up, and I was moved back here to Tulsa, and I had a house like on 31st. I lived on oh my God, I lived on 31st. I had a house like on 31st Street, 31st, I think it was 31st Street here in Tulsa. And I was renting a house, and I'd split up from Ben, and I was all heartbroken. And then I was using, and then Gene was fucking with me in my brain, and and I'm realizing that shit is wonky, but I have no idea like what the frick is going on. And it wasn't until I got my brain clear when I got to Slidell that I was able to start decoding. Like she was taking extra advantage because I was using to really like, and just like having a freaking field day, using it to be. And so in that time, that psycho time span, Ben was doing all this psycho shit, and I was trying to hide from my boys that I was still talking to Ben. They didn't want me talking to Ben. They didn't want me doing drugs, and they knew that Ben and I were both using drugs. They loved Ben. They did not love that either one of us were using drugs. And so Ben had this new girlfriend. Her name was Mary. So it was like a circus act, like show between the three of us. So Gene Roberts and her Manson occult were icing Ben and Mary, and they were icing me, just having a freaking field day, and like all kinds of chaos was going on. So anyway, so it's like a triangle. Like, and I'm like, Ben, I miss you, I love you, la, 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 la. And why are you with Mary and she's psycho? And then I'm watching Mary, and I'm realizing Mary's up to no good. And then I'm realizing Russell's up to no good. And I'm like, people are just acting weird. And then Ben's doing all this weird shit, like, and then I realized in the future, like, he's trying to like leak stuff to me where he can't say, and I'm like, what the frick is freaking going on? I feel like I'm in the freaking Twilight Zone. And it's not until I get to Slidell and I start decoding, and I'm like, what the freaking hell? So anyway, it was just freaking like insane freaking crazy. So anyway, last year I start decoding ciphers. Okay, so Linda Nowak. And I know everybody gets the biggest laugh out of it, and I do too. Linda Nowak was an astronaut. She was a NASA astronaut. She decided that she wanted to kill her lover or her lover's girlfriend. And she drove, this is a real news story, okay? She drove her car across country wearing a diaper so she didn't have to get out of the car, so she could make a straight shot into Florida and she could go kill her boyfriend or her boyfriend's girlfriend, Linda frickin' Nowak. She's like the joke of the frickin' century. So anyway, come to find out, Linda Nowak is somehow, I decode Linda Nowak. Like I go look at Linda Nowak's crime and there's actually NASA guys on like roaring freaking laughing. And they just, because it's just like, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. Like this bitch is freaking hilarious. So anyway, they're like roaring laughing at Linda Nowak. And they're like, Christina is decoding Linda Nowak. And you know, they're even laughing even freaking harder. Like, can this even, and they're like, is Christina going to stick up for Linda Nowak? And they're like, if Christina decodes a crime and Gene Roberts committed it, Christina will annihilate Gene over. That doesn't mean that Linda Nowak's innocent. It means that Gene Roberts committed the crime, assisted committed the crime, or ICE committed the crime, but Gene is involved. Gene Roberts did it. And they're like, oh my God, they're freaking even dying laughing even more. So, because Gene is they weren't sticking up for Gene. Gene's a damn criminal. But it's freaking funny because they're like, is Christina going to like stick up for Linda freaking Nowak? So anyway, so I'm like, I decode this crime. So there's a whole cipher written around Linda Nowak. Man, I could say something, but I ain't gonna freaking say. I ain't gonna freaking say it because of NASA. Because I just wouldn't do that. It's not about NASA. It's just something Linda Nowak did. But anyway, like they'd be like, Christina. So they would freaking be like that. So anyway, let me move forward. So anyway, so I decode out Linda Nowak's crime. So Gene Roberts definitely committed the crime. And I continue decoding that. I'm decoding this on my phone. And I see that she created the fluffle of the weirdo synchronization of me, Ben, and Mary and that whole weird freaking Twilight Zone freaking dynamic. Like she was icing all of us on purpose because she was intertwining it and trying to overlap it with the love. It's a love triangle. Okay. And she's trying to overlap it and intertwine it with Linda freaking Nowak. And so I'm like, what the freaking hell is this? So it's like me, Ben, and Mary are in this. So anyway, I'm like, I tried to say something in my brain in mental telepathy, and Linda Nowak came on in my brain, which she's a freaking snot bomb. And she is a super freaking snot. And NASA, the guys at NASA, like die freaking laughing because they're like, you're fucking Linda Nowak. You're freaking Linda Nowak. Now, and they're saying that about Linda Nowak. Like, who do you freaking think you are going at Christina? You don't know Christina. It turns out Linda Nowak is in cahoots helping Gene Jernigan Roberts. So they pre-planned all that little criminal stint out and did all that shit. And then they were icing me and Ben and Mary. That's how all that came. So come to find out, Linda Nowak's involved with them, which makes them laugh even freaking more. Like present day people that are on in my brain and mental telepathy, they're like, they unblock sensors and then they go, is freaking Linda Nowak out there? So it's freaking hilarious. Like she's like, so Linda Nowak is helping her run this Save a Child con. They're freaking perps. Linda freaking Nowak. So anyway, I'm like, in a couple podcasts back, it's probably like shortly, it was probably like a year ago, people were bringing up Linda Nowak and they were dying laughing. And then I started calling her Linda freaking Diaper, which was like making everybody laugh. And then Gene Roberts is like, oh yeah. And Gene Roberts is like, will try to like do like little attacky back shit, like to try to like lie about me or whatever. And then to protect precious Linda freaking Nowak. And then she dare make a comparison of Linda Nowak to my Aunt Linda. And I turned Gene Roberts in. You know what Gene did. So she was literally trying to compare. She tries to claim she's me. Gene Roberts tries to claim she's me. And she tries to steal my identity. And she tries to claim that she's my family members. And then here in Tulsa, she has people swearing up and down that they're my family's friends and that everybody said they could just gang stalk and just pretend to be everyone in my family and do anything they freaking want. No, you're not. You're helping a damn perv cult get themselves funded for committing terrorism. You're enabling them to commit terrorism. That is gang stalking. And everybody has told you guys to quit. You need to effing quit. Gene Roberts has arranged all of that. Gene is a psychopath. And none of my family on my dad's side, can stand Gene Roberts. They can, as my dad's ex-girlfriend, my dad's latest ex-girlfriend, they can't stand her. If you talk to anybody in my family, they cannot stand Gene Roberts. They were always like that with me when I was in Slidell. Like, my grandma was like that. My Aunt Terry was like that. They'd be like, can you believe this bitch? Like, my grandma Stacia didn't do that, but my Aunt Terry was like that. Look at that. Look how look what she did here. I don't understand this lady. She's freaking psycho. And then my grandma kept warning me over and over about her. Like, Christina, you need to pay attention. There is something really off with Gene. Gene is psycho. And I'd be like, and it took me, and my grandma's right. My grandma's correct. Like, and I'm like, well, this is a freaking uphill wall. I got a freaking battle because you're dealing with my dad, who is a retired Marine colonel, which like I can't like approach him and say, yo, you picked out a Fruit Loop, but he didn't pick out a Fruit Loop. She stalked him and put herself in his life. She was always stalking him, and I would never talk to him like that. But I mean, how do you talk? So I give him a hard time in mental telepathy now, and then not in mental telepathy, but I give like his Marine buddies on, they go on here, they all freaking laugh. They give him freaking hell. Like, you really freaking did it. You really freaking did it. Like, I mean, could you not see that the woman is deranged and people will either act like him or play the role as him, or it'll actually be him getting AI time and he'll be like, I know. So, but Jean here in Tulsa, she acts like him and her, and she's got someone playing the role as him, and they're getting their little freaking show on, their little freaking thing. And she has herself worshipped and loved and admired, and it's him and her. They're Mr. and Mrs. And and everybody just loves him and everybody just loves her. She's Mrs. Navy and he's Mr. Marine, and nobody else exists in the military and of all time or all existence except these two. I mean, this is what and it's her freaking brother, and then they're nasty friends. And then they've got people paid into acting like them. And they do all this sick psycho shit. And then in my brain and mental telepathy, they're like, that's not your dad. When she's using CGI of your dad, that's not your dad. And I'm like, I know. He doesn't fucking act like that. So anyway, I give him hell in here on podcast. Because like, what else can you do? I mean, but it's freaking funny. You could be like... But she fooled everybody like that. She sucked the shit out of everybody. She hustled the United States government. I mean, everybody. Like, look what and me trying to tell on her, like, it makes me look crazy just trying to tell on her, but I've got the hard, cold facts. All Jean is stuck with is with her and her liars and stolen AI and people she's got sworn into helping her and doing everything she says no matter what. I mean, so anyway, so Benghazi is in that. So Bengal and then Benghazi. So that's evidence there of Benghazi, how early Benghazi was pre-planned. And then, okay, so also something else that she did, and I've got this noted down in my phone. I got to remember what this was. Okay, it goes Arsenio Hall. Remember the Arsenio Hall show? And he's like, woof, woof, woof. Okay, the famous Bill Clinton. Oh, that's what it is, the Benghazi. So Bill Clinton was a guest on the Arsenio Hall show, and he played the saxophone, and nobody knew Bill Clinton could play the sax. And I think he's wearing like a pair of Ray-Bans, and he's playing the sax, and people are like, oh my God, you play the sax. And he's playing the saxophone on there. It's real famous. And Arsenio Hall is real famous. Everybody loves Arsenio Hall. So then that goes to, because Benghazi happened on Bill Clinton's watch. So that goes to Benghazi. So there's more evidence there. And then Arsenio Hall then connects to, and this is going, she's combining the two in my brain because she wanted to steal and get away with this and wanted to freaking hustle and blame everybody else. And then she's a and then she mic drops and she's like, I told you, Christina, I'd get away with it. I'm Jean the Third. I'm a Viking. That's exactly what she wanted to do. No, Jean, you don't use and lie and abuse, kill, commit terrorism, run child trafficking rings and blame everybody else and try to sucker them in and sucker them in and by lying to them and get the fuck away with that. No, you go to jail, Jean. So anyway, she linked in Arsenio Hall to Wesley Snipes. Now, okay, so my Aunt Terry dated a Wesley, okay, and he was in the United States Navy, but they're not together anymore. But you can tell that's Jean controlling my family. So she even lied to my Aunt Terry and got like my Aunt Terry like all upset, trying to frazzle her. And she goes, Christina, did you get into my iPad? I gave my Aunt Terry, I had multiple iPads. I gave her one of my iPads. She goes, did you get into my iPad? And I was like, no. And I was getting into my own accounts on my own iPads. So I was trying to, because I thought Ben was stalking me. It was freaking goddamn Jean. So I'm trying to get into my own iPads, trying to get into my freaking accounts, trying to see if Ben is stalking me. And then I get all sidetracked looking. I realize that it's like, I don't know if I realized that it was like my account and it was connected. Because I was like, how is my, like, is this the iPad that I gave my Aunt Terry? Like, I was confused and I was high. Like, I'm like, looking at my accounts, like, is this the iPad that I gave my Aunt Terry? Like, how is this intertwined with this iPad that I have here? But anyway, I got sidetracked and I was seeing family pictures of hers. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cute. Like my family. So I'm like getting pictures of my family and it's all on my Aunt Terry and Wesley's side. And then Jean told a lie and act like I was maliciously like stealing like my own family's pictures. No, it's not. I'm in my iPad trying to see if Ben is stalking or hacking me. So I'm like, who are you to butt into my life and spread lies about me? So anyway, but she did it on purpose. Okay. So Wesley goes to Lake Powell. Okay. So Lake Powell is Jean Roberts used in her theme. So she arranged a relationship of Wesley to Terry, to my Aunt Terry, to go and wreak freaking havoc and then try to manipulate my family is what she did. She tried to manipulate Wesley. She tried to ice Wesley. She tried to con Wesley. She tried to make it look like Wesley was some sort of spider for like, and then she tried to ice my Aunt Terry, stalking them. Okay, so this is what Wesley goes to. So Jean Roberts, in doing the World Trade Center attack, she used Lake Powell as a theme and part of the flight path that the planes took when they went to go crash into the World Trade Center attack. Like, I decoded the flight path, and freaking Lake Powell is in there. She's using my favorite lake on earth. She's using literal Lake Powell. And then I'm decoding even more, and I'm finding out that she's hiding in northern Arizona. You guys see my previous podcast. Her and her Manson occult are hiding in northern Arizona. And then they said she's also hiding in north central Arizona. And then they said she's probably hiding in southern Arizona. But I decoded where she's hiding in northern Arizona, and she's hiding on Native American reservations without Native Americans' knowledge. And she's plotting and planning to commit the World Trade Center attack. She wants to make it look like it's Native Americans. It's not freaking Native Americans. It's Jean goddamn Roberts and her Charles Manson occult. So anyway, because she wants to hide under it and make it look like it's American. And they did not do this. And they've said a million times, they did not do the World Trade Center attack. There's Jean Roberts and her Manson occult. So then, when the World Trade Center attack happened, who was one of the generals who passed away now? General Colin Powell. And I think Jean Roberts calls herself a general too. Jean Roberts committed stolen valor in the Navy. So anyway, so all this is all linked. All of this is all linked. So Wesley goes to the World Trade Center attack, her using Wesley's name, and even her ice raping Jeff and I to go to West Point. She did that too. Even though I keep the blessing of going to West Point, being able to see West Point. But Jean Roberts did that too. And I love last week when Annapolis threatened the ever-living fuck out of Jean Roberts. Oh my God, I was so freaking happy. And she got pissed, and she ice raped some guy that is in the, she's controlling my speech. She ice raped somebody who's in the military. She ice raped someone in the military to get in front of me. Like, they weren't purposely getting in front of me. They're just driving, they're going about their life. They don't know they're being ice raped. But she ice raped them so their car would be in front of me when I pulled up. And she is trying to, and I pull up at the intersection. So she's doing this little stint, and then she's abusing the music on my radio. So she's doing some mic droppy, snot stunt, trying to tell off Annapolis is what she's trying to do, because that's who ripped the shit out of Jean Roberts. So that came out of the middle of nowhere. They have had it with it. And she thought she's like, oh yeah, I'll ice rape someone else in the military. And I'll pretend, she's like, I'll pretend I'm not the one doing it. I'll just blame everyone else. She's literally ice raping people's vehicles in the military, which I know you know that. See how she's trying to control Christina's speech right now. Oh my God, you're ice raping everyone. You ice rape all motorists on the road. In fact, this past weekend, I'd probably say, I'll tell you when the waves hit, but I would say this past week, and it might go into next week, because she knows I'm making all kinds of podcasts against her, turning her in. And so she wants to be on the flip end, switching everything around, telling lies and covering her ass so she can go out, ice rape a palooza and mic droppy stunt and conning everyone. So she gets her very aggressive people on. She's always using ice on motorists, okay? She ice raped the pilots. She's the true one that did the World Trade Center attack. But there's a special group of people that are extraordinarily violent and aggressive ice rapists of ice raping people who drive vehicles. And that's because Jean Roberts is having a freaking fit. So she called on her people. And so they have been aggressively ice raping motorists. So it's okay, so this is the caution signal for the week. Jean's got her extra violent voltage of ice raping motorists on, which means when you're driving, and that's anybody, anywhere, especially here in Tulsa, be extra cautious because they cannot control. Jean has technology where she can get control of people's brains and bodies. I know it sounds like it's science fiction, but it's really true. So she is using ice on people. So you need to be extra cautious when you're driving because she's got the extra violent ones on. So, and that was this week, and there was a little bit before the week before that. I can always tell when they're on because they're like, they mic drop and they do like they're ridiculous. They're freaking ridiculous. So anyway, if I sense them on again, she's probably going to try to modify it. The people that are in I don't care. If I can warn you, I'll warn you. If I can't, I can't. Watch a flow of traffic and watch traffic accidents. You'll be able to tell by patterns when they're on and off because they wreck hella cars. They wreck a lot of vehicles. So anyway, so Wesley, and that'd be Charles Manson cult, the thank you bitches, the fuck you bitches. Even they're using my speech right now to tell lies back in, and they're creating artificial slobber on my mouth. That would be your violent ice raping MFers. They just lie. They want to play a game. They want to tell lies. They want to get away with committing terrorism and running their trafficking rings, and they don't want anybody stopping them. That's why I call them all Capizios. So anyway, they shout thank you and fuck you in my brain constantly. It's the most annoying crap in the world. And they make little mic droppy sounds. They do little cunt stunts and they like they freaking snot out. They're freaking insane. They're criminals. But most people are aware that they're criminals now, so they do their best to ignore them. So anyway, so Arsenio Hall, his hairstyle, very, very significant. Remember his hair? Okay, so this connects to Wesley Snipes. Okay, so Wesley Snipes, and I remember this because Wesley Snipes was in a movie, and I looked it up because I'm like, what is the name of this movie? All I can think of is the dance RoboCop is all I can think of. And RoboCop and Terminator X, Terminator, and then Terminator X, and then Public Enemy, and then but Public Enemy didn't come out till later around the time of Wesley Snipes, but Terminator was already out and RoboCop was already out. So then you're thinking Wesley Snipes was in. That's how you're supposed to link it. So then Gene Roberts gets away with telling her lies there. No, you don't get away with telling any lies, Gene. We know what you did, lying, spraying everyone. It's not a freaking joke. It's not a cutesy thing. You thought you'd get away with controlling people and telling a bunch of lies and blaming everybody for everything that you ever did. No. And then she paints herself as the victim, which she pre-planned to do. That I decoded that. She's just a blonde bombshell. She didn't do shit. She's white. She's a Viking. She's Jean the Third. Even her committing stolen valor. Even she freaking did. I decoded, and everybody knows she could have been stolen. But look, even the initials of stolen valor, STV. Steve. She even freaking did that. You talk about being freaking stalked. She sucks the shit out of me. She sucks the shit out of everyone. So like everything's a freaking joke to her. So anyway. And then also she's using vest, which we were talking to you about this, Christina, because you had we're talking to actual Christina. People are talking through my voice right now. They're bringing up how they were talking about vest and invest and all that. Vest and invest, and then vestido, I think, is dress in Spanish. And then she's using dresser and she's using bureau. And then she's using FBI. Jean poses as an FBI agent. She's not. She's the leader of a goddamn satanic demonic occult. She tells everybody she's FBI. She's not the freaking FBI. And she's actually weaseled her way into the freaking FBI. Like forcing her way in there. It's freaking insane. But anyway, so she's using all that. So even with the Steve and the Eve, she's using vest and invest and probably divest and all that stuff too. So anyway, so this connects to Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes. So I'm linking by the music and the hair because it's on my brain. When I go back in history, I go to and that's how she pre-planned my life. Might go back and look through all of my memories, and then I'm able to decode everything based on my memories of my own childhood. So Wesley Snipes, so he came out with Demolition Man. That's what's making me think of RoboCop and everything else. So, and then Robot Cop, and then Jean's running around claiming she's a freaking robot cop, and then she's just fucking dumb as fuck. And she's even controlling my speech to say dumb as fuck. I always say she's dumb as like a box of rocks. She's just like, I can't with Jean Roberts. Like, freaking arrest her already. I'm tired of this all. So anyway, so Wesley Snipes was in New Jack City, and then New Jack Swing comes out. New Jack City, that came out before 9/11, where I decoded military skirmishes that she caused using ice rape before the World Trade Center attack, and that was Desert Storm, and that was like in 89 or 90. So Desert Storm. So I decoded Desert Storm, where she caused Desert Storm. So anyway, that all came out at the same time. New Jack Swing, that was a style of rap and dancing. And then so then that's linked to the future World Trade Center attack also. So there's that link also. And then I'm going to get into even more of this in the following podcast, but I'm going to end this one for now.